This is a review of the BDP-105 by Oppo. This unit is relatively new. It's replacing the 95, the BDP-95 that was quite well received from last year. It is a Blu-ray player with a couple of new features. In addition to that, it also has a little bit of a price bump over the 95. The 95 was roughly $1,000. This one is $1,200. Both great players. I'm going to go through the additional features and just let you know kind of how it performed. This has a networking capabilities in addition to playing Blu-rays, SACDs, CDs. It actually plays quite a great wide variety of format types. Pretty much anything you can throw at it. You can play music through a connected hard drive through the USB ports. There are a lot of connections on this unit, so anything you really want to connect to it, it'll probably do, which is a really fun kind of thing. I found that the versatility from just everything you can put into it to everything you get out is great. You can see that they have both a USB and a MLH HDMI end, as well as a headphone jack. You can also plug in an MHL cord and connect this to your phone to play media directly through your phone without needing to connect to an external charger. The charge actually goes through that port as well, which is kind of a nice feature. The headphone jack in the front, located right here, is fairly nice. I didn't find that it pushed the really high-end headphones to very loud levels. However, for in-ear listening, around 50 I felt was a comfortable listening level. With my pair of LCD 3s, I found 100 to be a comfortable listening level, but not loud. So those of you who really like loud amplifiers, you might want to look at an external headphone amplifier and run it through the outputs in the back, which I got a little bit better sound out of. So as you can see, there are quite a bit of different connections, any direction you'd like to go. Right here you can see we have 7.1 analog outputs for your surround sound system. It is a surround sound player as well, obviously being Blu-ray. The outputs from this I found are exceptionally great. If you do, unless you have a very high-end processor, I would suggest connecting your analog outputs directly from the unit into your amplifier, and instead of going through the HDMI output here, you will usually get a much better sound doing it. So you look here, this is kind of what makes this unit very special for a stereo listener. It has dedicated stereo analog outputs located here, and as you can see, it has both the unbalanced and the balanced connections. There's also a separate DAC chip just for these outputs, separated from these. So there's one DAC chip, ESS SABRE DAC, for this and for these outputs. The other feature that this player has that a lot of other ones don't, which is very nice, is the digital audio inputs here. These are not outputs, these are actually inputs where you can plug in a computer, coaxial, or optical connection into this to take advantage of that same SABRE DAC. I did test these against this, and the sound quality was excellent. Very good for a connection to a computer. Even when compared to some of the other DACs that I used, I was very impressed. You may notice here that the HDMI, there's also two outputs, so you can connect it to two different TVs if you'd like. One of the things that's really nice about this unit is that you can plug in an outside video source directly into this to take advantage of the video processing that this thing does, in addition to be able to take advantage of the audio. So with this one, you can plug your TV feed or what other feed you like into there, and you, through an input selector, can actually select whatever you want. It's almost like a processor at that point because it has so many inputs, and you can try a lot of different things with it to see what works best for you. Obviously, it connects wirelessly through an adapter and wired to allow streaming for Netflix and Vudu and a lot of other kind of streaming. It also does Pandora. for audio right now. More firmware updates should give it more options as they become available. You can see here that the remote for the Oppo 105 is pretty much your standard issue. It's rather large, not the smallest thing. No unique keyboard, but it does have, as you can see near the top, the dedicated Netflix and Vudu button, which is kind of new. That's fun. Probably one of the most important buttons on this thing is the input button here, which is fairly unique for a DVD player, Blu-ray player, because it allows you to run through all the different inputs that it has, be it HDMI for video, these USB DAC audio inputs, coaxial, even the ports in the front. So that is kind of an important feature there, accessible through the remote. The Android application mimics the actual remote control pretty closely. It works great. It's very quick and responsive. I didn't have any real issues here. It would be nice if there were a little bit more file management for all the streaming and playing services that the Oppo offers. But for right now, I mean, it definitely works as a remote control. Overall, I found the sound to be quite comparable to the 95. And that may be because the DAC chip is the same as last year. I think that Oppo did a great job with the design to really keep the noise floor down and keep the clarity up. The player still remains to be one of my favorites in this price range, and one of my favorites overall, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed the sound that comes out of this one. It's very organic and live. It's one of those players where you can just sit back and listen to the music and enjoy it. One of the few Blu-ray players out there available at this price point with really the feature set that it has. A lot of the higher end stuff gets exponentially more pricey. However, at $1,200, while that may seem like a lot of money, the sound that you get from it is right up there in that range. I really enjoy it. It's very clear. The DACs performed exceptionally well. Playing a CD and by themselves when you run them through the USB DAC. I mean, that's quite unique. Functionality-wise, everything is in working order. It just, the quality and the build of this thing showcases a lot of attention to detail. From the build in the front to the suspension of the unit itself, you can tell when you set it down, there's vibration reduction and a suspension system through the feet. It's a very well-built piece of machine. It is quite hefty and large. It's rather big compared to most of your standard Blu-ray players, but it is a solid piece of machinery, and I think there is a good amount of craftsmanship that went into building it, so that is very nice.